Hello and welcome to a new day and a new episode of Redefining Moments. I am your host Kelly and I am here to help us redefine the very moments that define our past, present and hopefully our future. Now, I've just had an insight as I was getting ready for bed that I needed to come on and share with you. I am someone who sees life as a test. And I think many of us do, but we perceive that test in different ways. Some of us see the test as a why me? Why is life challenging me this way? Why is life forcing me to feel its pressures, its discomforts? And I understand that. We all have different experiences of what this life has to offer us, and some of us in some ways have been more unlucky than others. I'm not denying that. But I do like to see a lot of our experiences and life's tests as an opportunity to understand ourselves more, to understand the world, to understand who we are beyond the surface. Because there are some situations where some of us will seem unmoved, unscathed, calm. And then there are some situations where the same person can be completely unravelled. And it's because our own personal identity to that situation and our own personal pain points. So the things that seem more like a wound to us than others. And it means that when we're observing other people go through situations and experiences, we might project our own judgment. I know I can do that. Even though when I'm coaching, I try and do my best not to project my own experiences and insights onto another person. In everyday life, when I'm tired, when I'm exhausted, I find it really hard not to project my own experiences of what I would personally do differently. And this has given me a skill to be able to interpret and read patterns and behaviours and explore how I might adapt. But it's also allowed me to observe this deeply through other people. It's an amazing quality and skill to have. But I can also see how it can cause me to put myself on a pedestal or bring shame or judgment onto other people when they are just going through their own experience and they're only understanding their own journey and pain points. It's an opportunity for them to learn and grow. All of our experiences are. But then just before I was going to bed, the thought came to me of, what if life isn't a test? What if life is just life? And there was something about this question that took me back a bit and made me kind of go, what if life is just life? Because I realised regardless of which direction you go in and see life as a test, you either see it as a test of suffering, why am I being challenged, or a test of opportunity, but regardless it's still a test. But does it have to be? Does life have to test us? Does life have to be something that is constantly revealing ourselves to us? Or could we just choose to be, choose to accept, choose to embrace life for all that it is without feeling like we need to go deeper? And this might not resonate with a lot of you. It might resonate with you deeply. This once again goes back into our own worlds. Like, I know I'm a deeply analytical person. So this question kind of makes me go, well, if there's no test, then what am I studying for? What am I practicing for? What am I going out into life and constantly analysing and evolving and working for? What's the point? And I guess when I think of this, the concept of religion comes in, like the idea of an afterlife, the idea of preparing for something. I guess it's something that's been installed in us in generations. It's something that many of us, without realizing, have probably been working towards. If you look at most people, we're constantly living for the what next. Like, when I've done this, I will be happy. When I've done this, I'll feel successful, I'll feel fulfilled, I'll feel complete, I'll feel love, I'll feel joy, whatever it may be. We're constantly putting our life on hold for the next thing. And I believe I mentioned it in the New Year's resolution post, something on the lines of that, of constantly moving towards the next thing. But the truth is, I think we're burning ourselves out. We're exhausting ourselves trying to prove something, trying to pass a test, which in reality, what's the marker of it being passed? What's the grade? What's the level of success? Is it getting to the end of your life, looking back and knowing the good you've done? I think I have been deeply looking into myself over the last all my life, if we are truly honest, and I guess that's what I've been trying to figure out. What is the answer to life's test? When I get to the end of my life, what is going to determine a successful life for me? And I think that's how I've been living my life, going out into the world and trying to understand it, trying to comprehend it, trying to work it out. And I think now I'm wondering, is the answer not in the tests, not in the constantly pursuing something? I've known this and I've been exploring this a lot recently. But is it more about just living in life, being in the moment, enjoying what life offers us now? I see so many people in this world, and it's no fault of their own, but they're trying to make a good life for their children, but they're not actually enjoying their children as children. They're trying to live a life that they expect others want them to live up to. A good job, marriage, house, kids, the standard, and there will be their own different variations of this. But the truth beyond that is, at the end of the day, we will be alone in that moment, and we'll have to sit with that. We'll have to sit with, have I lived the life that I truly honour and desire? And I do believe the only way to truly step into that, I think life's tests, quote unquote, is they give us opportunities to go beyond our consciousness, to go beyond the surface. When I've had moments of feeling like my mask is cracking or going to a deeper level of self-awareness, it's like a light breaks through and I'm able to see that light through the cracks. And the more I examine it, the deeper I'm able to go. So in some ways I do see a lot of truth in what I'm saying. Truth in understanding that life's experiences expose us to our alignment and authenticity. They expose us to our truths, what's important to us, what is it we value. And very much, at least in my experience, when things have shook me into reality, there's a period where I almost feel a sense of peace. I go into this space of the worst thing I could imagine has happened to me. And within that, there's something magical that happens because there's no chasing, there's no forcing, life just is. And I guess that's where I'm going here is everything needs to almost be taken with a pinch of salt, or our own interpretation of what this means to us. But life can test us, and it can be open to opportunities, but also it's not fixing to that identity again, that life is a test. Because I think we have a habit of seeing an identity and then using it to either weaponize or validate our experience. So if something happened to me that I am able to stay grounded in, but it's difficult, and I can see my growth and I can see my development, and I can also see the pain, but I can work through the pain. I can use all the tools I've built over the years to help me in that moment. Then I'm going to say, well, that validates my experience. That allows me to understand myself better. Pain is good. Pain helps me know my wounds and to know my depth. But the reality is there are going to be some things that are very raw for me, that are like a hot poker straight through my heart. And in those moments, that's where we risk weaponizing the pain and weaponizing the test, because it's like, why is this happening to me? Why is life so cruel? Why is it hurting me so deeply? And the truth is, it's just life being life. But there is something about that moment that we are so personally identified to, that whatever the thing is that is hurting us the most is actually activating a deep wound or a deep pain of ours. So for me, it might be rejection or abandonment. There's deep wounds that we have where something will agitate us, and that's where the answers often lie. Why has this caused me so much pain? Why is my identity so attached to this moment? When our identity is attached to this moment, I've said before, we become defensive, we can become inflamed, we can see our suffering, and we feel like the world is personally attacking us. How dare it? How dare it attack me right now? Whereas when it's less painful, more surface level, it's more like a little graze. Like, it hurts in the moment, but also it's surface level, it'll heal quickly, it's fine. And that isn't as deeply impacting our identity. And I think I've had a few moments this year where my identity has felt personally attacked, and it hasn't been. When I was able to ground myself and look at the situation from a magnitude of perspectives, I could see the whole situation, but physically, it didn't matter how much logically I understood. Physically, my whole body ached. Physically, I felt pain. I felt anger. I felt feelings that I have very rarely felt in my life. And in a way, that was beautiful, because it allowed me to access something that I haven't accessed before. It allowed me to work through feelings I've never worked through before, but it wasn't easy. And the way through that was through compassion. The way through that was through recognizing that life is not testing me. Life is not personal. It hasn't got a personal vendetta against me. It's not personally going, right, let's pick you today. You're going to suffer. Often it's ourselves and our identity and our attachment to a situation that is causing us to suffer. And it doesn't mean be detached to everything. It doesn't mean put your armor up. It just means that it's something that can offer us clues into understanding ourselves deeper. It's something that can give us a chance to know ourselves deeper, but also find more compassion towards ourselves and others in situations when they're either going through pain, or if more people are involved in our own circumstances. I think that's why when something collectively happens to us as humans, there is so much shared empathy and experience within what happens, because there's a shared identity, there's a shared resonance with those involved. You feel connected to other humans. Whereas I think a lot of the time we very much feel alone, because in some ways we are making ourselves alone with our own pain and suffering. when it comes to heartbreak, the thing that helped me get through my heartbreak was thinking, there are so many songs written about heartbreak. There are so many rom-coms, movies, books, you name it, they're out there. There are an abundance of things that express people's pain. And if they've gone through it and they've survived it, so can I. So there's a beauty in this understanding, because life, as I said, it isn't personally testing us. It isn't going, oh, you're going to have suffering today. We all experience these moments. We all go through it. It doesn't make your pain any less valuable or any less, I can't think of the word right now. Worthy is probably the right word. It doesn't make it less worthy, less important, less impactful, less painful. It doesn't invalidate it. Your pain is your pain. Your suffering is your suffering. Your experience is your experience. There is no doubt about it. But I think one thing that when I was designing this podcast, I had in mind is I also want people to know that they are not alone in that suffering. They are not alone in that pain. And I think one thing I want you to take away from today is you are not the victim. You are not being picked out by the universe and going, you deserve this pain. If anything, it's just a part of our human experience. And it isn't a test, but it's an opportunity to go beyond, to go deeper, and to know ourselves. And when we're in the midst of that pain, don't worry, you don't have to figure it all out there and then. I wouldn't expect that from you. But in those moments where you're leaning into the pain, you're sitting with it, you're breathing into it, and you're giving yourself that space to truly honour it, because pain deserves to be felt. I think that was in the book, what's it called? A Fault in Our Stars, in the movie as well. Pain deserves to be felt. And I think every moment we experience that, allow ourselves to lean into it, allow ourselves to feel it, express it, experience it as it is. And then when you're ready, ask yourself, hey, what was going on there? I want to talk about it. And give yourself the space to talk about it. Give yourself the space to go deeper and explore it. Because as I said, life is not a test. That's what I've realised tonight. And I'm glad I can join you, invite you on my journey of little epiphanies and awakenings. But life is not a test. It's not personally attacking us. It's not personally out to get us. But it does offer us insights, clues, and opportunities in knowing ourselves more and knowing what is harming us. Not from a point, as I said before, of putting our armour up, but a point of understanding the chinks, what they call the holes in our armour where we are more exposed. And it isn't the sense of an armour that's there to protect us, it's just our skin. But we can actually see that the wounds that are already exposed, which weaken us already. So give yourself the opportunity to give your body, your mind, whatever it may be, the nurturing it needs to heal those wounds. Because if your wounds are already there, it doesn't matter how many layers of armour you put over yourself, you're always going to be exposed to that pain, that suffering, and that weakness within your body, mind, soul, whatever you want to call it. So today, any day, you feel discomfort, you feel pain, you feel heartbreak, you feel sorrow, or you feel like life is testing you, ask yourself, what is going on beneath the surface? Until next time.